This episode is sponsored by SmartVestor. Connect with an investing pro for free at RamseySolutions.com/invest. You're listening to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires, where we talk investing, retirement, building wealth, and outrageous generosity.
Scott is up next in Seattle. Hi, Scott. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
Good to hear. I'm calling to get some advice on making a first home purchase. My fiance and I are getting married later this year.
Yay.
And thank you. And we'd like to get into a house, ideally within the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
We have no debt, and we think we could save up about 50% of the down payment for the house.
Wow.
In that time frame.
Good for you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. That being said, we've heard some advice that putting that amount of cash towards a house doesn't make like 100% sense. And sometimes in some situations, it can better be put towards investments if the interest rate for the mortgage is pretty good.
That would be advice from broke people who don't know what the flip they're talking about.
Well, that makes it pretty clear, though.
I would 100% do this with my family in my home.
If I were you, I would do exactly what you're talking about doing. And let me back that mouth up, okay? We did the largest study of millionaires, not broke people with an opinion, millionaires, people that have a $1 million or greater net worth that's ever been done in North America. We studied 10,167 of them. The number of them that said, out of 10,000 millionaires, the number of them that said we became a millionaire because we invested our cash instead of putting it down on the house was precisely 0. No one said that. Rich people simply do not do what you're talking about. Broke people talk about it and say that rich people do it, but they simply do not do it. What we found instead, Scott, was that the typical person, how old are you?
30.
And it sounds like you guys are making $250, are you? What are you making between the two of you?
Around $150 total pre-tax.
But that's your combined income after you're married?
Correct.
Okay, wow, you're aggressive savers then. Very good. Okay, either way, so here's what we found. By the time you're 42, if you fit the profile, the typical template that we found, the case studies of these average millionaires, the typical millionaire that we went through, they had two things primarily that caused them to hit their first $1 to $5 million of net worth, and that was that they got a paid-off house, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 paid-off house. By the time you're there, it'll be more than that. And they've invested simultaneously into their 401ks and Roth IRAs and built those up. And so they're sitting with $500,000 or $600,000 in each. And so they've got $1.2 million, $1.5 million, $1.8 million net worth, something like that. And that's the two biggest things that we saw that people did, financial products, so to speak, financial pathways that cause people to actually hit that level of wealth. A paid off house and a loaded up retirement. It was that simple. There wasn't a bunch of smoke and mirrors. There wasn't a bunch of, I'm going to borrow on my mortgage because I can make more in the market. I'm going to put the money in the market, and that arbitrage, some TikTok guy learned a new word the other day apparently, it's an old word. But anyway, that spread I'm making is going to make me rich. And so, Scott, that's, it's social media bullcrap is what it is. So the reality is that wealthy people simply pay off their house. So I am so impressed that you can put 50% down in 2 years. What that also tells me is in 2 to 3 more years, you're going to completely paid off.
Pay it off, man.
And you're going to be 35 years old with a paid off freaking house in Seattle, and the stupid thing's going up like a rocket ship, and you're going to be sitting on $1 million house that's paid for in just a handful of years.
Dave, I'm convinced that the age of the influencer is coming to an end, because I think people have been doing this nonsense for several years. And like the caller we had at the beginning of this hour, you still got your student loans after 5 years. You still got this. You still got that. And this people who just learn a new fancy word and try to sell it and tell everybody to go do this thing, it just doesn't work. After 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah. The influencer is the
not wise.
It's the stepchild of reality TV.
Right.
Okay, so reality TV is you became famous for what? Being famous.
All right.
You did nothing.
You were on TV.
You just were on TV being absurd, and the absurdity was somewhat entertaining, and you were pretty, or you were something, right? But you're basically an empty suit. You know, you got nothing to say. You are nothing, but we're all watching you anyway, like we're a moth drawn to a flame. You know.
And then they start giving advice.
And then the next step is we go from that to people who are empty suits, who have never done anything, are now influencers.
Right.
And they have absolutely zero earned the right to have that influence. Not at all.
Teaching a generation of people.
Not at all.
Things that are going to ripple through their family tree for a long time.
But it's the sick child of reality TV. Is the influencer. And so you're exactly right. We're seeing the data. The data scientists are coming out. I mean, we study this stuff because of social media and because of the platforms that we're all involved in. And we've got about 4 different sources coming at us right now that are very credible. John's been nerding out on this stuff, but we're looking at it as a company right now because Ramsey's in the broadcast business. We're in the content business, the business of influencing you, but we actually are not empty suits. We actually have the knowledge, the degrees, the experience, the things to tell you this. It's not, and the back it up with the research. So Scott's not any of that. He just caught the back end of that. But
yeah.
Scott,
Scott, you're doing great.
Scott, you're doing great.
50% down, man. Get that sucker paid off.
Yeah, I mean, you get married and you can save that kind of money in the first 2 years, and you go put a big old chunk on the down payment. You're going to be glad you did. And don't take financial advice from broke people. That's what we're saying.
And don't take life-altering advice from somebody that had a single experience.
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to be a life coach, you should have first had a life.
Correct. Right. Well, and here's the thing, though. Like, I love folks. They go through, somebody cheats on somebody, and they go through 3 years of hard therapy. They rebuild their marriage, and it's amazing. And they reach out and they say, hey, we want to write a book on marriage, and we want to become marriage speakers. And what I always have to break their heart and say, hey, you had an experience in your house. You did. That does not make you the person, right? You have all the letters. You know what you're talking about. And you have a personal experience. And I think the cornerstone to wise counsel is you've walked with millions of people. And so you have the academic stuff. You've got a whole bunch of different stories. And you know what it's like to have to go tell your wife we lost everything. All 3 of those make you a credible person to listen to. Not just you went to school, because we got plenty of that nonsense. And not just because you got a bunch of people that show up at your house. It's all of it together, man. And you got to be careful about who you take counsel from, especially when it comes to your health, especially when it comes to nutrition, especially when it comes to your money.
Yeah, the Bible does not say in the multitude of counsel there's safety. It says in the multitude of wise. That's right. Counsel.
That's right.
Safety. And that's what we're saying. We're actually seeing the data that the power of the influencer is starting to wane. And someone just is now someone who can garner some likes, garner some clicks, is
telling you what to do with your money.
I think Gen Z's the one killing it because Gen Z's sick of it. They're sick of things that are not authentic.
They're watching their parents and it didn't work. They're watching their older brothers and sisters.
It's not authentic. And Gen Z can smell a rat a mile away. And that's one of the reasons we love Gen Z around here.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires. To learn more about how to plan for retirement, visit RamseySolutions.com/retire or click the link in the show notes. Ramsey Solutions is a paid non-client promoter of participating pros. Learn more at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.